That didn't work out, but to see Alonso, one of the greatest drivers on the planet, back in an Indy car for the Indy 500, that is massive. We'll talk a whole lot more about that as we get close to the Indy 500. That was some major news. So we are, we're going to take a short break. We come back. It is Kyle Busch right here on the show, here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my next guest, Kyle Busch, to the line. Kyle, man, how's everything going?
It's going okay, I guess. You know, we've certainly we've had our ups and downs already so far this year, but looking forward to plenty more wins, hopefully.
Yeah. How is it when you go to a track like Vegas? I mean, that's kind of your hometown. I mean, I remember as a kid, I can't say a kid because we're about the same age, but I remember you running dirt tracks in the Southwest. I remember watching you at like Mojave Valley out there by Needles. Like, how is it going back to the Southwest and being in the Vegas area?
It's good. I enjoy it. You know, the West Coast and being able to go back to Vegas, California, Phoenix, it's kind of home's away from home, I guess, nowadays, you know, being everything's out on the East Coast in North Carolina. But I enjoy it. I like it. You know, Vegas, though, it's everybody's like, oh, how's it like going home and being in front of the hometown crowd and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, it's kind of a destination race for people. They kind of pick Vegas as a race that they want to go to, that they want to see a NASCAR race and have some fun in the city. So you get a lot of out-of-towners there. So, of course, there's family, friends that I guess family is not there, but there's some friends there that, you know, I kind of grew up around and stuff like that come out and cheer us on. So it's always cool.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Vegas is probably completely different now. I mean, than when when you kind of grew up there, right? I mean, it's a total different city atmosphere. I mean, it's just you look at Vegas now and 20 years ago, there's no comparison.
Yeah, I haven't really been able to spend a whole lot of time out there, but every time I go there, there's kind of something else that's going on or being built, and obviously with you know, the hockey team, the Las Vegas Knights that are now there. That was really cool and really special that they made it all the way to the finals in their first year. That was cool to watch. You know, now they got the Raiders kind of going to town, so it's really becoming a sports mecca. And when I was living there, growing up there, I was always kind of wondering, you know, like, why don't we have sports teams here? And my dad was always telling me, well, they're just not big enough. Or just don't, you know, there's not the amount of people there that would support a sports team. And so now I guess that the city's just grown so much. I mean, it's almost valley to mountain throughout the valley, and they're starting to go up the mountains now.
Yeah. So here's a question. I mean, obviously now, I mean, your home, your family, your business, everything's in Charlotte. How was that transplant, man? I mean, I got to feel like that's home now, you know, even though, you know, you kind of come back to the West Coast. But how was that being a West Coast kid? Because I'm from the West Coast. You know, how was that when you first originally transplanted to the East Coast? That had to have been different, man, because it's everything is different on the East Coast.
It was definitely different for sure. You know, when you were done racing in Vegas late at night and you're on your way home and about everything's still open, you know, you could stop in the grocery store, the drugstore, you could go to In-N-Out Burger, you can find some food places that are open on the way home, whatever it needs to be. And then when you're out on the East Coast, you know, and sometimes you're out late at night or doing something, whatever it might be, and you're heading home and it's like everything's closed. There's not anything open. So you definitely got to look at what time things are open till versus Vegas. Everything's always open, you know, so that's definitely a shell shock. But other than that, living in Vegas, being a part of, the town there, and never really did a whole lot of stuff down on the Strip. So that was always kind of a different, there's a life away from the life, there's a town, there's a community, there's all kinds of stuff that's within Vegas that isn't necessarily always the Strip. So that's kind of how it is in North Carolina for me, where, there's always like a downtown, whether you live in Charlotte or Cincinnati or Nashville or something like that. There's always a downtown, but there's still the community outside of that.
Yeah, it's kind of the place you go when you got people in town, you want to show them something, but nobody that actually lives there ever really goes there, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's true for sure.
Yeah. So we do have to talk a little bit about Vegas, man. And I guess the big story coming out of Vegas, I don't think was the Cup race at all. I think Twitter blew up, and it had to do with the truck race, man. Talk a little bit about this bounty. I know Kevin Harvick threw some money out there. All of a sudden, I think another $50,000 got popped in there by Ganderson. All of a sudden, we got $100K bounty on your head, man. I mean, kind of take us through this, because I know trucks is something you're passionate about. You've got your team there, but how you feeling about this number being put on you?
I mean, it is what it is. It's all right. Being in the truck series and being as good as Kyle Busch Motorsports is, I mean, I've been able to win 7 races in a row now, I guess, and should have been more than that. I think the one before the one that would have made it 8 in a row, I finished second, but we had a bad pit stop and I had to start dead last on the final run. That was only 20 laps wrong, and I couldn't make it all the way to the front in time. So, we can win about any single race out there. And so Kevin Harvick basically said, you know what? All these Cup guys that are sitting on their couches and watching me race and saying that I'm cherry picking races, and they're not supporting the fact that I'm out there in my own stuff and doing good things for the series and for NASCAR. He's like, look, put your money where your mouth is, kids. Like, get out there and go and try to beat them then, if you think that it's so easy. And, so Kevin's actually kind of on my side about it, but, there's some of these other guys that just think I'm cherry picking races, but man, you got to have sponsors to be in this business. And fortunately, I've got some good sponsors in the truck series, and I've got other good younger drivers that are trying to make it as well too. And, if it wasn't for Kyle Busch Motorsports and my team in the series, there wouldn't be the likes of Eric Jones and Christopher Bell and William Byron and Bubba Wallace and, Harrison Burton now in the Xfinity series. So, there's a lot of Noah Gragson in the Xfinity series. There's a lot of drivers that have come through our place that maybe or maybe not would have come through other people's places, but I still take some credit in being able to help those guys and get them to the next level.
Well, and I think too, me looking at things, and honestly, I haven't really studied the NASCAR truck, the TV ratings or anything, but I got to think having you in for, 5 races, or when you had Greg Biffle in the truck last year and he took that victory, I got to think, I mean, this is a big deal. There's a whole lot of additional eyeballs on the races then, you know what I mean? And there's got to be a spike in the ratings. I mean, they can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, they got to be pretty happy when you show up to race.
Well, I think it can go both ways. You can certainly have your Kyle fans that tune in to show up and watch the race because I'm in it, and then you're going to have your haters that turn the TV off that don't want to watch it because they know I'm going to win, and that just irks them so bad that they can't stand to live with themselves sometimes the next day. So it's it's certainly a unique situation, but it doesn't matter to me. I go out there and try to compete and do the best I can with the stuff I got, and fortunately it's been pretty good lately. We've been able to win some races, and my other teams, they were competitive this weekend in Vegas. They were running second and third to me for a little bit there. They kind of got crossed up on a restart there and dropped back just a little bit, and then ended up in some bad traffic situations. So those are young kids trying to learn. We got to talk to them about how to get better in that, and get them on to finishing top 5s and getting finishes out of those trucks that we know are good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Cup race there, too, because how do you approach a race like that where all of a sudden, there's weather delays, there's all kinds of stuff, there's whatever the heck, happened with NASCAR, and you think you're starting in the front, all of a sudden you're starting in the back, man. How does that affect the game plan? I mean, I gotta think it's really got to kind of throw things out the window, and you've got a fast car, and all of a sudden you're going to have to pick your way through traffic over, 400 miles. I mean, how does your approach change on a weekend like that when, a wrench is kind of thrown in the plans?
I mean, you just got to do what you got to do. It is what it is. We've I think I qualified on the pole there back in 2009, and we ended up breaking a motor in final practice, so we ended up having to change the motor and go into the back of the field. and started dead last and was able to come up through and win the race, So this time around was way different situation where we had some body mods made where we were filling some areas of some Bondo with the nose piece and where it connects to the front fenders. You have to connect a metal piece of the car to a fiberglass piece of the car, and I guess they didn't like the way our Bondo was, so we had to keep changing that throughout the weekend to make them happy. And unfortunately, they put us to the back for it. So we started dead last, and we just didn't have a very good car overall the whole weekend. When we were in final practice, we were only 15th quick, and car wasn't driving very good, and it kind of looked the same way in the race. We were only 15th quick in the race and running around, 8th to 12th much of the day and kind of struggling along. And then there towards the end, we had a late restart, and everybody just goes crazy on late restarts anyways. And we got spun sideways on the front stretch, but was able to save it and keep it going straight. But they docked us a couple spots for that. So rough day, definitely just not what we needed at all to start our season. We're really far back, don't have a lot of points, and it's not looking good right now.
Yeah. Well, and I gotta ask. So you say not looking good right now. Well, we got to talk about your championship last year and the championship in 2015. I mean, we got to compare those because if anybody knows how to rally back and win a championship, it's you. I mean, compare your championship in 2015 to the one last year because both of them were hard fought, man. But the one in 2015 that was the one that wasn't supposed to happen, right? And now and you were end up crown champion. I mean, compare those, and how hard is it to win a championship? I mean, either which way you cut it, it's definitely tough at the Cup level, man.
It's hard. It's hard to win races, let alone try to win a championship. But 2015, I got injured before the season even started. Really, wasn't able to make the Daytona 500, and then had to miss the first 11 races of the season. Was able to come back. I broke my right leg and my left foot, and had to go through rehab and rehabilitation, stuff like that, in order to get that stuff back going and working right and getting ready to get back in the car. Fortunately, I was able to do that. Side note, all while my wife was pregnant with our first son, Brexton. He was born, 2 days after I got back in the race car for the first time at Charlotte. And, the first couple races didn't quite go very well, but then I think it was the fifth race at Sonoma. I didn't think I was ever going to make it through the race at Sonoma, and fortunately, here we are. We ended up winning the thing. And we were able to start our surge of being able to win some races. We won 3 in a row right there. Got ourselves in a good spot points-wise for, making the top 30 in points before the playoffs started. So that gave us eligibility to be in the playoffs. And then we made it through each round of the playoffs and to Homestead, and we won the thing, So it was kind of weird. We went through a dry spell, though, from Indy, which was, I guess, August all the way through to Homestead. So people kind of discounted us not really having a shot for the championship. And same exact thing happened last year in 19, where our last race win for the regular season was late June or something like that. And we didn't win again through the summer and fall stretch until we got all the way to Homestead, and we were able to capitalize there and win again. So people kind of discredit us that we weren't going to be capable enough of winning a championship. But you know what? We showed up when it mattered most, and we did what we needed to do. So just real proud of the effort that my team has done. I've had Adam Stevens on board since 2015, and, we've won 2 championships together. We've won 40-something races together, so it's been pretty awesome. Hopefully we can keep that roll going. We just got to get back on track here this year.
And we'll be back with more with Kyle Busch after this here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter